Hello again, and welcome to Winning with the Wrangler at Dick Powell's Leadership Corner, brought to you by Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training and Development, where our passion is building leaders of today and tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, the information on today's program was gathered from many different places and people. If you hear yourself in our conversation today, it's not all about you. For speaking and appearances and support, please contact us at 727-422-1833 or send an email at dick@ewfw.org. Today's program, it's gonna be fun. I hope you're gonna really enjoy it today because it's called Action Attraction. And it is what I truly, solely believe about you as a leader. First of all, to be a great leader, you need to really believe in yourself. You see, one of the first things that I really am going to encourage you to do is repeat this. I deserve everything that I have worked for. And that's a big piece, a good positive mantra to take and put out for every single day. So many times people come through my office doors and say, gee, I just don't know if I deserve to do this or deserve to do that. Let me tell you something. If you've worked hard for it, you deserve everything you get. I deserve everything that I have worked for. And repeat it all the time and post it on somewhere in front of you. It's an important piece. Hopefully, it will keep you moving and taking action and making things happen. The next one I want you to really write down is this. There is nothing I do not deserve. Now, I want you to understand that sometimes what you deserve is not really fun because you're going to make some bad choices along with your good choices. And that's how we learn. You see, bad choices are just a learning tool. So don't be afraid to do that, but don't be afraid to make choices. You see, when we take too long to make that decision, we procrastinate too much. A lot of times things just get away from us. So just believe in those two things, okay? I deserve everything that I have worked for, and there's nothing I do not deserve. You see, two positive mantras to take and keep in mind. Now, I want you to understand the difference between routine and relationship. Routine is something you're going to do every single day. Every single day, routine, it gets boring, you're just going to do it. Well, relationship is something you have to be intentional about and build on every day. Now, the two do go together sometimes, but they both have to have intentionality. You see, I believe if your routine it has intention and you're going to do that every single day to push yourself forward, I believe, and quite frankly, that works. I also believe that building relationships that help along the way. Good relationships keep routine from becoming boring. Think about it. Admit where you are at the moment. How many times have you actually spent a few moments sitting down, being quiet, turning off the phone, and thinking about where am I right now and what actions do I need to take to put me where I want to go? And so the question always shows up when I talk to people, and the question is this: what are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? Now, I get some funny answers there. I have to caution you, of course, it needs to be legally and above board. Most of the time, though, what are you willing to do takes action. It means you actually have to get up and do something. You have to be involved. You have to have intentional movement. You see, that whole piece of moving on, admit where you're at. A lot of times I find myself, I'm not really where I need to be. I have taken maybe a wrong path, or I've taken a path I shouldn't have, and I need to get back on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time sitting there beating myself up. I'm going to move on and make things happen. I'm going to take action. And that's why we named this Action as Attraction. because without action, you're just stagnant. So move on. Find whatever is in your way and stopping your movement from moving ahead. Find a way up, around, over, and under. I'm going to tell you what, if you truly have a passion, if you truly have a drive, if you truly are going to do something, you're going to take action to find a way to make it happen. Sometimes that means going out and reaching out and building a relationship with someone else to help you make that happen, but you're going to find a way. Now, I'm going to caution you here that most times you're not going to find your very best people that are going to be positive about what you're doing are going to be in your family. I remember back when I told them I was going to be a professional speaker and I was going to have a best-selling book, they all laughed pretty heartily. And when I went to them and said, you know, I just need a little financial help to get that next book out, again, they kind of laughed. But I found a way. I kept moving, and I kept positive, and I kept pushing over, around, or under. I knew I should do it. That book became a bestseller. How Not to Lose Your Bass in Business. You might want to look it up. It's good stuff. The thing is don't stop. Don't stop your movement. When you stop moving, you're going to stagnate. The next one is this. When deciding on which fork in the road to take, make the best choice of the time, then move on. That means make a choice and move on it. Now, if you get down on that road and you get down so far and you think, oh, well, this was the wrong way. Well, backtrack a little bit and go down the other road. It's not the big deal. You see, failure is a learning tool, not a negative piece. And that, my friends, is something you can count on. If, I really don't like that word if, but the word is this: if you take what you learned and put it into practice. And then you're moving, then you're taking action. So make a decision, go down the road. If it's wrong, if it doesn't work out, no big deal. Just backtrack and go next road. It's those who keep on going that become a success, and those who stop at the fork of the road and take too long to make a decision are the ones that find out someone else has already accomplished what they wanted to do before they get started. Think about it. If you find yourself in that wrong road, retrace and go back. Now, I want you to take and think about this one. Possible, impossible. Possible, impossible. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you put it in your mind that it's impossible, it will be. If you put it in your mind it's possible, it will be. Both are going to be true. I truly believe that everything is possible. I love to be on that positive side of the world and give things a try. Even when they don't work out, I still think it's possible. The things that we've invented here from this and put together Earth, Wind, Fire, Water Training Development have been amazing to me from times, because usually it happens when someone tells me that's an impossible thing. You can't do it. Boy, I tell you what, when I hear that, I really stick in there and get her done. But that's a movement for me. You see, it took action. I actually had to do something. Possible, impossible. Your choice. Both can be true. It's up to you. Now, idleness, action, choice. Write those down. Idleness, action, choice. And only you can decide. Go backward, stay where you're at, or move forward. Idleness, action, choice. You see, we have choices in everything we do in every part of our life. When someone tells me, well, I don't have a choice. I had to do it that way. Did you? You didn't have a choice? Oh, I don't have a choice. I have to stay at that place and work there. Do you? You don't have a choice? Do you have to stay there long enough to find something else? Do you need to learn something new? Do you need to do something? Do you take action so you can make a change? do something different? Or can you just want to sit there and accept it and bellyache about it? You see, I don't have much time in my life for people who just sit there and bellyache. I used to tell people when they came into my office that, you can come in and complain and bellyache or whatever you want about it, as long as you have a solution for what you're complaining about. And I would always let them go for it. Sometimes those solutions worked, sometimes they didn't. But you know what? At least they were taking action and making a try at it. That's the part that I enjoyed. I always told them if it works out, it would be their idea. If it fails, it would be my idea, and I'll make it, we'll do something different. But at least when we were trying those things, we were taking a small risk. And that took action. You see, action is always attraction, and action is what other people want to be around. They want to be around leaders who are moving and grooving and making things happen. They want to actually follow you and help you and be a part of that movement. They don't want to follow someone that sits around and bellyaches and moans and groans but doesn't make anything happen and don't even try to find the solution. These 10 things we are talking about, I have to tell you that they came up to us over and over. And I'm going to give you 3 steps that'll really make everything work. And I know it sounds simplistic to you, but you write down these 3 steps. I'm going to tell you what they work every single time. First of all, always remember the good. You can sit there and spend time on everything that happened to you, poor little old me, if you want to. But I'll tell you what, if you do that, poor little old me is going to always be poor little old me. It's never going to move ahead. Remembering the good things that happen are always going to push you ahead. Now I'm going to tell you what, there's always something good that's going to happen. So remember those things. Step 2, return to the positive. No matter what happens to you, there's going to be some positive into it. I have to tell you that, it's funny to me that the positive things that people remember. I was a scoutmaster for a long time, and there was a young man who came by with his wife and children just the other day, and I asked him, I said, what was the most important thing that you remember, or what was the most fun thing that you remembered about scouting? I said, he said, you remember that camping trip that was cold and rainy and nasty, and we ran out of food halfway through, and he said, boy, that was fun. Remember the positive. It reminds you that there's always a way to take action and make things happen. So remember the good, return to the positive, and repeat the action. It amazes me that people don't understand how important this is to repeat the action. When you do, just keep moving ahead. Think about what we've talked about here today. Remember the 2 mantras that I want you to kind of get written down and put somewhere where you're going to see them all the time. The first one is, I deserve everything that I have worked for. And the second one, there is nothing I do not deserve. Know in your heart, though, the difference between routine and relationship. Know that when you need to admit where you are at the moment and evaluate and then move on. You need to find whatever's holding you back and stopping you from moving ahead and find a way around it, up and over, whatever it takes. You need to decide on which fork in the road to take. But don't be so afraid that you sit there. Take a fork, give it a try, and you know what? If it's down the wrong road, no big deal. Trace your steps and take the other road. Keep going. Don't sit idle. Possible, impossible, both are true. Depends up to you. Motion without emotion, I'm going to tell you what, everything has emotion within it. But here's the thing I want you to remember. No emotion, no involvement. And that's a true statement, so write it down. Idleness, action, choice, you bet. Only you can decide whether to go backwards, stay where you're at, or move forward. And you can do it with these 3 things, remembering the good, returning to the positive, and then repeating the action. Wow. Just really good stuff here at the Action Attraction. Now, because we've been talking about this Action Attraction, I'm going to take this just a little bit heavier and turn it into there are no shortcuts. Now, these are some truths that just might knock your socks off. And I kind of hope they do. The first truth that there are no shortcuts is there's no such thing. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to own your own company, if you're going to go out on your own, you're going to make it happen, you're going to take the action, there's no such thing as a 9-to-5 workday. There just isn't. And you need to ask yourself, what are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? I had a young person come into the company here, and they wanted to start their own company, and I asked them, well, what are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? And they didn't really know. So I asked him, well, how many hours do you think you're going to have to work a day to run this company? He said, well, I figure 4 or 5 hours a day, and I'm going to be able to be a success. I said, mm-hmm. I said, how much time off you want to take? And we went through the whole thing. And I told him, quite frankly, you're going to fail. Your company's going to fail. Because you're not willing to do what you need to do to get to where you want to go. So we laid out a plan, and sure enough, he put the time, he put his nose down and worked hard. Success today, the restaurant's up and running. One of the hardest companies to ever get going, especially a single one that you didn't purchase a franchise piece. He's doing well. Now, he doesn't have to work as many hours as he once did. He has some people working for him. The difference is he was willing to do what needed to be done when other people weren't willing to do it. That's what made the success. You need to know that the other truth in life is education does not stop on graduation day. It's an ongoing, continuous learning that must happen every single day. If you believe that just because you got out of college and you've got some letters behind your name, that you're going to be a success, I've got news for you. It's a long, hard road, no matter who you are and what contacts you have. You need to know that ongoing, continuous education is going to be the key. You need to stay current on everything that you're going to put into your career, your company, your lifestyle. So, education, they tell me formal education, Jim Rohn said, formal education will make you a living, and self-education will make you wealthy. You might want to think about that. Another truth is this: you have to do the homework. You know, you need to learn all you can about your chosen endeavor. And I mean you need to learn everything. You need to do the research and get prepared. You've got to do the homework. It amazes me when someone tries to open one store and right next to another store that sells the very same thing. They didn't do their research. They didn't do their homework. And then they wonder why it didn't work. Well, you need to do it. Another truth here is this: developing good listening skills. Boy, I tell you what, I can't tell you enough about this learning. I can't tell you enough about this skill. In today's society, it seems like in our schools and colleges and other places, we really are only teaching this one part about listening long enough to give an answer. Now, if you're going to be a leader, you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be someone who's going to be successful in business, I'm going to encourage you to have an intentional learning style. Fortunately, we were given 2 ears and only 1 mouth. That means we should listen twice as much and speak less. It also means good listening skills means taking some notes. Allowing the other person to completely speak their mind and get their thought process out on the table without you stopping them in the middle. It means at the end of their time, when they've gotten everything out that they want to put on out, that you ask some pertinent questions to do 2 things. 1, ensure that what you heard is what they said. and what you heard is what they actually meant to say. That in itself will keep the misunderstandings at a minimum. A wonderful thing to learn. Oh, man. One of the truths of the world is this. You need to expand your world. You need to expand your world by reading, traveling, meeting other people, living other cultures, having some motivational pieces in your life, and plain having fun. Expanding that piece by reading is going to take you someplace where you're not going to go naturally. So I read about things that in my work career. I read about things that are motivational and push me farther. And yes, I still read for fun. I like my old westerns. Now, why is that so important? People ask me all the time about this, leaders are readers and readers are leaders. And they say all the time, Dick, just how do you come up with that? Well, I find over and over when I do interviews of successful people, I do interviews of people who are wealthy or have made that list, that they read all the time. They read everything they can get their hands on. But it always amazes me what kind of magazines they read for fun. So do those kind of informations and check it out. But do it for yourself. I'm going to encourage you also to write your not so positive experiences as well as your positive experiences down. Keep a journal. I found over and over that those folks who keep that journal, that there is just no shortcuts to it. They get down their experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, and in between. And they use them for learning tools. They also put them down so that next time they run into that situation that they're already prepared with the answers. They use them for a place to refer back to. That tool is always there for them. It's funny how many times that I've had to dig out one of my old journals and find that piece that I had learned before. Or the person that I had met and their phone number and email, or something else that was there for me. But those experiences are things that I learn from and I go back over. So write down your experiences. Write down the not so positive ones. Write down the positive ones. Keep track of where you're going and how you're getting there. It's an important piece to make this happen. Now, there's no shortcuts when it comes to this. You need to be accountable. You need to be accountable to yourself first and accountable to others. To become accountable, first of all, you have to have some things written down. And I'm going to encourage you to write down your strategy. I'm going to encourage you to write down your vision and your mission. And I'm going to encourage you to share those with others. You see, this accountability, when I tell someone I'm going to have my book done by February, and it's not, someone needs to hold me accountable. Well, what happened? How come? What do I need to do to help? I love it when people say that to me. I see that you're not quite done with what you said you were going to do. And they hold me accountable to it. And almost to a fault, they'll say, what can I do to be of help, so to help you get done? I found myself helping others when I see that their accountability piece isn't quite done, and I do the same to them. How can I be of help and service to you to help you get to where you want to go and finish what you said you were going to finish? But the thing about being accountable is people watch, people know, and they trust people who are accountable, and that trust is a huge piece that you always want to have. The next piece here is this is the truth. It's a fact. You need to be responsible. And if you break that word apart, it comes down to response able. And that means choices. And again, I believe everything has a choice. You can make a choice on everything. And when people tell me they don't have a choice, I have to say to them, yes, you do. And making the wrong choice is just as bad as making no choice at all. So be responsible. Be accountable. Let someone else help you be accountable. Help them be accountable. Help yourself be responsible by making good choices, which means I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to take the time to answer those questions in my reading and my traveling to be able to answer those questions and be prepared to answer them. I'm going to encourage you that this next truth is so right on the money that you need to write it down. And that's this. The truth is, a positive self-speak is one of the best things you can do for yourself. It keeps your whole world together. It also keeps your equilibrium level. One of the best things you can do is on a post-it note somewhere or many places, it says, I am the best, whatever you want to put in there. I know that when I go to do a speaking engagement or I'm going to have to do a stand-up live, I read that note all the time as I'm the best stand-up speaker in the world. I am the best on the radio of anyone else. You see, that piece right there gives me self-confidence. It keeps me motivated. It makes me take action on what is to come and what is going to be. The other thing is the last on my list anyhow, is the knowledge. Share your knowledge with those who ask. You see, people who share knowledge with people who don't ask, they get to be known as, that's the know-it-all big mouth. Believe me, I was there. Now, I know how that feels, and I also know how the reaction is. Trust value goes down. So if they ask, you bet. Be that knowledge basin. Be that knowledge broker. No doubt about it. Share everything you know, but don't push it on anyone. That's the difference. I'm going to go back over these real quick because I see our time is running low like usual. Now, these are actual, no shortcuts. These are truths. There's no such thing as a 9-to-5 work day. Education does not stop on graduation day. You have to do the homework. Develop good listening skills. Expand your world by reading. Write down your experiences. Write down your not so positive experiences. Be accountable. Be responsible. Use positive speak. And share your knowledge with those who ask. All good things that you are going to need to look at. Today, I have to tell you, I've enjoyed sharing with you these things. Now, you're saying, well, I didn't ask Dick to do that. Well, you know what? A lot of people did ask. And that's the fun part about this. When the staff here puts these things together for me, it amazes me what we all come up with when we're doing it. You see, it really does take a team to put this on for you every single day. But on behalf of myself, Dick Powell, and the whole Leadership Corner team, I mean the whole team, we want to say thank you for being a part of today's program. Our hope is that you've received a nugget of wisdom and guidance that will help you build your leadership ability. Now, if you have any questions or comments on today's program, don't hesitate. Give us a call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website. There's a place you can click on and leave us a note, www.ewfw.org. And when you know that you're ready to have me, Dick Powell, the Leadership Wrangler, come and provide a keynote speech, some kind of speaking engagement, or an instruction or a team building exercise, give us a call, 727-422-1833. Send me an email, dick@ewfw.org. Go to the website, www.ewfw.org. And remember, until next time, this is DW the Wrangler saying, ride hard, ride fast.